get a chance to taste, to see what God is doing, it changes your perspective on everything.
I think this is very significant. We're coming to Germany. We haven't been to that many other nations, but we are coming to Germany, and I think it's going to be a very kairos time for Germany.
Being integral part of this fellowship with these amazing leaders, this gives me great hope and great excitement of what God can do in Europe as well as here.
Instead of pledging their allegiance to Hitler, they pledged their allegiance to Jesus. And I watched just tens of thousands just on their knees worshiping and giving their hearts to Jesus. And I feel like there's something up with Germany.
Yes.
It's time for Germany.
I saw massive Georgian, absolutely massive fireballs, like a lot of them heading over to Germany.
I just believe it's Europe's time. It just really is. It has been for a while. It seems to be mounting. You know, it's obvious that there's international crisis everywhere. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But the gospel is the only answer. And where sin abounds, grace does much more abound, which basically means wherever there's a problem, that's where God's heart is. Mm-hmm. His heart is there and is ready to invade with grace. And it's a time for the power of the gospel to be displayed. Miracles that we read about in Scripture, Book of Acts, kind of miracles. It's the time for the presence of God to be more fully manifest upon people, the glory of God. And it's time for the purity, the holiness, the lifestyle of Christ to be seen in his people. I just feel like God's raising up a generation that will know power, but they will also know purity. They will live well and holy and right before people.
Destiny.
Yes, and just looking at what happened today, we were all together, and I think there's something about 6 couples, leaders of 6 movements coming together. There's something, we're like catalysts, yes. And God just crashed in, and people were all completely undone by God. And you know, we're just all little people, but something happens when we come together and dwell together in unity, and we just cheer each other on, and God just crashed in. And I believe he's gonna crash in Germany, and we're really excited. We're gonna see you guys there.
There's such an expectation, anticipation, revivals in the air. And you know, it's really interesting. I just had a dream about Germany. Wow. Around 2 weeks ago. I shared with my wife when I woke up. Wow. And it was stunning because I was with a tennis player that was German, and in my dream, he was a number 1 player. And of course, today is Djokovic. He's number 1, and it's not a German player. But the point being that in my dream, I knew he was number 1. And I was with him, and all of a sudden, the sky parted, and this bright light shone right on top of him. Wow. And it was almost like the sunlight coming upon him, but it wasn't the sun. It was Jesus. We saw him in his brilliance and his brightness, and he came right into his heart, and he got radically saved.
Wow.
And so I just felt like it's a picture, and he was young, by the way. He was like in his 20s in my dream. So I feel like God wants to visit Germany. He wants to bring salvation to the next generation, but also someone who's on the top of the mountain. He was the number 1 player in the arts and entertainment mountain. And so I feel he wants to come to the land of reformation and bring reformation to the 7 mountains.
But I saw it hit, these fireballs hit Dresden. And afterwards, my husband said, "Oh, Carol, in the war, Dresden was a firebombed. It was a city of refuge. It wasn't a military city at all. And the Allies just, bombed it, firebombed it, and it just swirled it, and thousands were killed. But I really felt from this vision that God was going to, what happened in the natural, God is doing in the supernatural with his bombs of fire.
I just am in such expectation of how God's going to pour his Spirit upon all of us. So, amen. It's amazing. Great honor to be a part of this.